put the recorder on. Yeah. So welcome, Betsy, and give all my love to Todd when you see him. And I hope you look great. You look great. I'm not even going to say I hope everything's well because it's more than well. It's beyond. It's beyond good. So thank you for coming on. And it looks like you're enjoying a nice day and a nice walk. So welcome also Narayan, doing a double, double, double today with the Gita and now this this sacred soul meditation or inspiration, whatever you want to call it. Ellen, it's always a beautiful feeling to see your name on the chat. It's really a wonderful feeling. And Marty, thank you for bringing your beautiful light to the table this morning. We need all of you because we have a couple nice ideas to look at angles on things that you might not have considered, that might just bring more light to the situation, bring more light into your awareness, bring more light into your heart, things like that. So this is a wonderful day to be here, my dears. It's a wonderful day to have an opportunity to have a beautiful, refuge, um, a refuge place to go, like a bomb shelter. I didn't mean it saying in that relation to the war there, but a bomb shelter from our own selves, right? Because we can send a missile right into ourselves and go, what the heck was that? Well, I haven't had a thought like that in a long time. So we need to have some interceptors in the way of thoughts that come in, so we can take care of them right in the air of the thought before we give it any permission to dictate something to us, because we're not dictators. We are awakeners. But we're going to see one of these, if we get to it, is about the 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 lies that can be said about awakening. And our first one, though, is about, if I give you the title, the era. This is called the era of religious fear is ending. Ooh, the era, Sarah, Ryan, Lisa, Jim, Ellen, Betsy, Marty, and myself, the era of religious fear is ending. There's a new, you can't have, you can't love mammon and God at the same time. You can't, you know, have your cake and eat it too, and things like that. So we have to make these decisions on a daily basis, what it is that we want. And it's simple. I mentioned it, I think, yesterday. Do you want the fear or do you want the love? Two options, two timelines, right? Very simple. Everything is two. Duality, dream, delusion. There's two. And the problem is, if you want to consider it a problem or an opportunity, is that spirit is one. So there's really just one focus. There's one game in town. There's one thing to pursue if you're going to be pursuing something. There's one thing to do with your mind. And there's one thing to have your heart beat around as well. So, and that is what we're up to right here. We're having reminders to have a takeaway today that stays with you, that really makes a difference for you, because you remember, and it just stuck with you. It was an angle on something, or it was just a direct hit of a beautiful, you know, um, resonance with something that was spoken or something that came to you. All right. So let's see what this thing's all about. The era of religious fear is ending, and my dears, conscious awareness is rising. It's a positive outlook. The era of religious fear is ending, and conscious awareness is rising. Wow. Look what it's taken, though. Look what it takes to get the conscious awareness to rise. you got to kind of create, I guess, a collapse. I guess you have to kind of create a hell existence, right? Like the Dark Ages or something, for people to wake the bleep up. And even then, it might be hard for them to wake up because we are still on the pity pot and don't want to give up our little entitlements, right? Even if they create pain and suffering, hard to give up. So let's see what this says. Maybe there'll be a nice little takeaway from this. The next revolution, the next spiritual revolution will not burn churches. It's not going to be burning churches. It will render them unnecessary. Yogananda said the day of the big church is going to be over. Of course, that was back in his day. He said people are going to meet and just kind of have little fortes underneath trees and in Mother Nature, you know. They're going to do it that way. But there's no more buildings are not, they're unnecessary. Churches are unnecessary. And it says not because God vanished, but because humanity is evolving past spiritual, what they call outsourcing, spiritual outsourcing. Like, here are the teachings, here's the dogma, here are the doctrines. This is what this teacher believes. And if you get enough people following that teacher, then people just tag along for the ride, right? But it's just because someone is outsourcing the information that came into them. So for centuries, we were trained to believe all that stuff. For centuries, we've been programmed. But that's the delusion. That's the delusion and illusion, my dears, that God even shudders at the very thought of adding that to his creation, this illusion. He said God would shudder at the very thought of it. If he had it over, I don't think he would create this duality. I think he would just leave things to be. But he wants us to have that adventure. When I was walking the dogs yesterday, it just seemed like, wow, what an adventure for them. They go out sniffing, everything's brand new, even though they've been on the same walk for days, for months or whatever. And everything is just primal. And I was thinking, yeah, that's what we want to have as an attitude. We want to be just like this is a new day, new smells, new smells, and maybe some new scenery, but maybe most importantly, new awakenings within the heart space. Let's see if we can pick up a few more resonances from this stream, that era of fear, religious fear, is done for. So for centuries, we were trained to believe that truth is somewhere else. In this church, in this teaching, it's somewhere else. And authority is somewhere else. Salvation is somewhere else. And God is somewhere else. But what happens when awareness matures? What happens when your awareness, Sarah, starts to mature? What happens when the divine is no longer accessed through fear? Or we get hurt enough, or we feel guilty and shameful. Do we really need to go access those things? What happens when the divine is no longer accessed through those things that I just mentioned, through fear, but they're accessed through coherence? They're accessed through your alignment, through your your attunement with a beautiful feeling in your heart, a beautiful thought in your mind, right? Instead of those other things. What happens when people realize heaven was never withheld from them? Never, ever held from you. Or someone got more than you got or something, or whatever. You know how it goes, that you might felt that you got a little chipped, or the word burned. But it's not true. Heaven was never withheld. It was unperceived. It was just unperceived. If we're in a pickle, my dears, it's because we don't see clearly. It just because we're not perceiving the light. We're not perceiving the good, right? We just got distracted. Hell was never punishment. It was unconscious repetition. Doing that same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Didn't someone say that? Carl Jung or somebody? This goes on to say sin was never moral failure. So you think you created a cardinal sin. What are they? Some of the words they use for a cardinal, uh, they have names for them. They rate the rates of the sin, right? Mortal sin, a venial sin. I forget all the names. But sin was never a moral failure, my dears. It was just a misalignment, just a misunderstanding. And prayer was never begging, it was just a tuning in. This is where systems begin to tremble. Because once consciousness becomes primary, control loses leverage. Once your consciousness takes over, once your awareness is like aware, the control loses leverage. And if the sacred responds to awareness, then no gatekeeper owns it. Nobody owns you. You don't own anybody. Everybody is free bird, right? There's no gatekeeper that owns anything. If transformation is internal, then no hierarchy can monopolize it. Isn't that good? If transformation is in you, and it's all about you, because you are everything. You don't need anything. You are already it. All right? That's the way we go about things. And so if transformation is internal, then nobody can get your goat. Nobody can monopolize on you. No one can bring you down, my dears. No one can make this day bad for you. Read. If your transformation is, if everything, you're holding on to those nuggets, you're holding on to those things that bring in you a little more light and a little more lift and a little more, you know, little light, more lightness in your steps. So if the kingdom is within, then your dependency on things dissolves. If the kingdom is within, then your dependency on anybody, anything, habits, addictions dissolve. This is not a rebellion against the church or against the leaders of denominations. It's the end of the spiritual adolescence, my dears. It's all just the end of the spiritual adolescence, the end of waiting to be rescued. We've talked about that. The end of outsourcing moral intelligence, right? You don't need to get it from somewhere else. So much easier when you have belief in yourself, when you have an inside scoop on yourself. And that inside scoop is that which puts a big old beautiful smile on your face. All right? The end of confusing obedience with awakening. So that's gone with the era of no more religious fear going on in the churches. The religion after religion is not a new doctrine. The religion after religion is not a new doctrine. It's a responsibility. It's a responsibility. So the religion that's after religion is not a new doctrine. So we say that the religions don't need. We can be sitting by a tree. We can be we could be alone by a little creek, just listening to the water go by, and more happy and more filled with God's presence than anywhere else, any temple or whatever, right? So the responsibility is for awareness of our thoughts, our perceptions, our nervous system, and our coherence, because our inner state shapes our life reality, our inner state. And that is not new age talk, my dears. That is not psychological, neurological. It's spiritual maturity. The future will not belong to the most devout. It will belong to the most conscious. Not those who repeat words, but those who embody alignment. So just be you. This is what this little reading is saying. Just be you. Those who embody alignment. Not those who fear hell, but those who dissolve fear. And here's the part that unsettles institutions. The divine does not require your belief. The divine doesn't care about your belief. It only feels your heart. It's only what's in the heart, my dears. God watches the heart. That's the main thing. If your heart's in the right place, everything is in the right place in your life. But your level of consciousness determines how much of you can perceive. The era of blind faith is fading, and the era of conscious participation has begun. That's why you're on the line, not followers, participants, not worshipers, my dears, but embodied coherence. You're here because you're here. You're here because you're making the calls. You're here because you believe in you. You're here because something does resonate with you. And there is something that you get to take away from, or you probably wouldn't be here. Consciousness is not the enemy of religion, this says. It is what religion was always pointing toward. Consciousness, not the enemy of religion. Before fear became profitable, it was consciousness before fear became profitable. And once you see that, you cannot unsee it. With love for those remembering themselves, thank you for saying yes to life. Put your wings on, we are taking each other home. So that was one little take. And this is another little take on things. Just as maybe some more things resonating for you for today. So you have a nice little lunch box full of takeaways, of beautiful ideas to percolate and to put into maybe some use for you, right? Something that you wouldn't have imagined yourself to be aware of. Maybe today is going to be that kind of day. So this one is called They Lied About Awakening. So we were just talking about the new awakening because the fear is gone from religion, right? But they say now, watch out for the lies about awakening. Are you with me, y'all? And this is kind of true too, because everybody goes through this that are on a spiritual journey. You thought it would feel like peace. You thought it would feel like peace. You're going on a spiritual journey. You're going to change your life. You're going to make some changes with your life. You're going to change some habits, right? And you thought it would feel like peace. Or you thought it would feel like light becoming something divine. But no one told you awakening feels like losing yourself. You sit in silence and meet the noise you've been running from. Isn't that true about silence? It's hard sometimes, right? To sit there. We sit in silence and meet the noise we've been running from, because all of a sudden you get a view of those things you're running from. You close your eyes and see everything you buried come back alive, right? It's kind of like those shadows. It's dealing with the shadow side. You close your eyes, you see everything you buried come back alive. They're not angels, it's not light, but your shadow waiting. And the chains you feel. So you're on this spiritual quest and something keeps you going, and that's called amazing grace, my dears. That thing that keeps you going, that keeps you, somewhat stable on your spiritual practices, if you want that, or whatever else it is that is a little bit, not necessarily, muy constant, but your shadow's there waiting. And the chains you feel, they were never placed on you. Those chains, if you feel you have chains on you, my dears, guess what? You forged them. Ooh. I'll take, are you ready to take responsibility, my dears? I'm sure you do. You're very responsible. You're responding to the call. You're responding to something that is calling from within, that is guiding you from within. That's my take. Every time, so we forge those chains. So if we forge them, we can undo them. And every time you chose comfort over truth, every time you ignored that inner voice, and every time you betrayed yourself to survive, and now you want freedom, it's just pointing out that we're going to be, you know, two in one, two in one. That we're going to be totally beautifully spiritually made in God's perfect image, and at the same time so totally broken and weirded out, and other things that you can say about humanity. Don't have all the things ticking in your brain or whatever, right? You're going to be both. You're going to be both. Now, can we deal with both, right? Now we want freedom. Freedom's not given, it's taken. It is taken. Freedom is not given, it is taken by facing the parts of you. Let's take our freedom back, okay? This is saying now. By facing the parts of us that we pretended didn't exist, right? And we want to raise our vibration, but you won't sit with your pain. You want to raise your vibration? We gotta sit with the pain of whatever vibration we're creating, right? So we won't sit down with our pain though to raise the vibration. You want enlightenment, but you won't release your identity. So this is just bringing up the pure fact that we're dualistic entities. We have the spiritual side, the incredible God awakening all infinite possibilities and potentialities. And at the same time, we're still dealing with all these things that we're listening to now. You want enlightenment, but you won't release your identity. You want the light, but you're terrified of the darkness that guards it. So understand this. There's no awakening without destruction. One way to put it. What does Yogananda say? When this I shall die, then will I know who am I. Yep. Understand this. There is no awakening without destruction. Not of the world. It's not a destruction of our world, but of the version of us that is keeping us in the dark, that was built on illusion, that destruction, or that voice that we deal with in our head. Not all of it is us. That fear in your chest, not all of it is you, that voice in the head. And that fear in your chest, not all of it is truth. That life you're clinging to might be the very thing imprisoning you. So it was just a little wake up call today. Real awakening is brutal. It's brutal. It strips you. It breaks you. It exposes you until there's nothing left but the real of you. Woo. And most people, they don't wake up. They decorate their chains. They decorate their chains. They call it growth and go back to sleep. So ask yourself. Are you just trying to feel better inside your cage? It ends like that, my dears. Are you just trying to feel better inside your cage? Well, obviously, there is things for you to have every time you come on the stream. There's something in you that is ready to come to you, to be yours, something that is lasting, something that is a win-win for everybody concerned. And that includes every being on this planet, for every animal on this planet, for everything. even the inanimate. So win-win, my dears. So that is what comes out of something that we just heard about. That awakening is certainly not an easy thing at all, if we're honest. And those things that we're running from have been forged. I kind of like that word, kind of been forged by us, the chains that we have on us, the things that we have tucked away and not wanting to look at, and those types of things. But not to worry, because these vibrations and frequencies that we have on this line takes care of all that. If we come here with an open mind and an open heart, or it's your call. It's your call. I'm not trying to put reasons in your mind, because obviously there's something really wonderful going on within each of you. That all of that was said there that was seemingly a negative is not a negative for you, because you're aware of it, my dears. Remember that awareness just comes up, and it's really super important, that awareness. It keeps coming up. uh, this is funny. So I'm scrolling on things that I saved for today's podcast, and then that guy came on on my phone. You look familiar? I've done so many videos, and then they come back. They just come back in 10 years ago. This was posted 10 years ago or something. But I'm talking about the same thing. I'm talking about the same thing, my dears. Yeah, bald head talking heart never stops. So let me see if there's something here. Oh, I know. There is something here. In closing, in closing, where is it? Well, I thought I had a closing, my dears. Yeah, this is a kind of a cool idea to end this thing. If you give me a minute. Yeah, right. Yeah, we believe you, Tom. 1 minute. All right. So, and it kind of fits into everything we shared this morning. That the new life, the new human, right? This new you and me, this new version of ourselves. We've been using those words, all of that Aryan energy. The new life may be growing more than you think. This says not every. This is kind of the astrology, because we're now entering, I think, Taurus. So, not going to get into the details, but just the principle here. The new life may be growing more than you think. Not every sacred shift shows itself right away, but it can still be deepening within you. So, my dears, just like those are hidden, little demons that we still might have, but that doesn't come hold a hold a flag. It doesn't hold a candle to what's really in you that we don't notice. And this is just a reminder. Not every shift will show itself right away. Not all that good is going to pop open right away. Because as you know, if you planted some beautiful flowers today, and we got a lot of tulips going on and poppies in our garden right now. But if you were to plant those poppy seeds, that you wouldn't dig them up every day to see if they were sprouting, right? This is the kind of what this means, that, dear friends, one of the most important parts of any real transformation is learning not to measure everything by the outer proof. You got to have outer proof. You got to have the experience, even. There are days when the energy moves clearly, the signs feel obvious, the responses come quickly, and the path seems to shine back at you. And then there are moments when the movement becomes less visible, but no less real. Now, that's important. This is a good way to end today. What is real is real. It never is not real, right? And that's spirit. Whereas this duality dream delusion, the duality dream delusion that we're in is not real. So that alone is a is quite an interesting thing to say. So let those things that are ready to sprout, those seeds that have been planted maybe earlier, maybe even in a previous lifetime. Let those beautiful, beautiful parts of you that have been, just incubating, growing in the soil. Yeah. These spaces then, these spaces can be deeply meaningful because they often reveal whether you are willing to remain with what is true, even when it is not being immediately confirmed from the outside. Wow. See, nobody's going to come around and say, wow, good job, girl. Good job, boy. You meditated, you do all that, you come and listen to spiritual stuff, and no one's going to come and give you probably a pep talk around that, right? It's not visible. Those spaces though that are within you that are popping up, that are growing you, that you feel the change, you feel the shift, something's good's happening. Again, you wouldn't be here in this street if there wasn't something that was keeping you, coming up to the surface and sprouting those beautiful flowers of yours, the lotus of your heart. All right. So let me just end this. So it often reveals whether we are willing to remain with what is true, even when it's not being immediately confirmed from the outside. They show us whether we can continue honoring what has begun and when the next sign has not yet arrived. They ask whether our faith in the shift depends only on momentum or whether something deeper is beginning to root within us. Now, this is why this thing in Taurus coming up right now, with the sun now in Taurus, there's wisdom in the slower and more grounding rhythm. Taurus does not rush to prove what is growing. Its roots, my dears. It stabilizes. You've already done enough spiritual work to have roots, really deep, beautiful roots, and a really rich soil. Yeah, Taurus does not rush to prove what is growing. It roots, it stabilizes, it gives life time to gather substance. It reminds us not everything sacred is loud and not everything real is immediate. Some of the most important changes begin beneath the surface, then deepen through steadiness, patience, and repeated self honoring. Yeah. So for many, this may be part of a deeper lesson now. The new life, the new you, the new human, the new life may not need to perform in order to be trusted. Sometimes the soul is simply asking you to stay close to what has already been shown, what you're feeling, what all those beautiful meditation efforts, all those beautiful things of saying a kind word, holding back some negative thoughts, right? Stay close to what has already been shown, to keep choosing what feels more aligned, and to stop assuming that a slower rhythm means nothing is happening. This is where deeper maturity begins. It's easy to believe when the signs are bright. It is more transformational, my dears, to remain devoted when the process becomes less visible, more interior, and more subtle. This is often where the beginning deepens, where the roots go down, where the nervous system begins learning that stability itself can be a kind of grace. Stability itself can be a kind of grace. So thank you for all that, you little soul flowers, you little budding, beautiful, glorious tulip, and other things, my dears. Thank you for all your beautiful side that no one sees, not even you, right? So if nothing else, we can kind of peek in, maybe peek into you today. We can peek in and go, wow, yeah, you got this side here that like I was with my computer going wacko this morning. I thought, oh no, I got to do the Gita. I not got it, but I got my people to see this morning. And I kind of felt a little panicky. You know, if internet goes out, I don't think, you know, growing up with entitlements and all this kind of stuff, this is why the world's going through what it's going through, because we've had it pretty good. And we don't know what it's really like to be in hardship. I haven't. So any little thing is a big thing for me. But God's not looking at little and big. He's just saying, all right, this is part of it. This is part of the growth spurt. This is part of understanding that you're still beautiful. Our soul is untouched, untarnished. Anyway, you've got the drift of all this morning, I hope, my dears. Thank you for listening. I so appreciate you. And I do sometimes listen back to these, and I'm impressed. I'm impressed. It just comes back and goes, nice, nice point, nice point. Yep, yep. It's good for me. This is all good for the soul. So, you ready to do some ohms with me? If you want to come on the line, let Betsy come on the line because we enjoy seeing her. Thank you, Bets, for bringing all this light and love. Sarah, yay. Inhale the breath, my dear. Oh. Let's go again to fill up what needs, what could really feel good to fill up with, and what could really feel good to let go of, right? Fill up with the sunshine of your love and let go of anything that impedes that. Inhale the breath. Oh. So as we do our little mantra here and we have our God glasses on, let's just see into those beautiful parts of us that we have no clue. You know, if we were awake in God and all that, we would know we are awake in God. But until then, why don't we believe that that is awake in us and we just haven't been, dialed in enough or whatever, right? So we love and we will continue to love because love is non negotiable. It's unceasing, unconditionally love. All right. And we care because that's the only thing that can happen after you're loving, right? You're loving and then you're caring and you're loving. It's all the same thing. It's a package deal with God. And your loved ones, look at that pup. Look at that puppy. Look at that puppy on the floor. Yeah, by the fridge. By the fridge. That's a good place. Yep, yep. Open the door, Betsy, for the doggy gets a treat. That's a treat. All right. And then we share. You got to share something, Bets. Yeah, well, beautiful laugh. Beautiful. Yeah, nice. Way to go. And your little Toto too, Sarah. God bless you and your partners. Your partners, yeah. Your besties. Your besties. Bless you and your besties. Marty, you and your besties. Lisa and Jim, Milo, you and your besties. They have more and more of that Milo. I see that name coming up in all these little things where a little golden retriever head, is talking, and then its name is Milo. So, yeah. All right. I'm going to let you all go. Enjoy today, and we'll see you again tomorrow. That's a blessing. Love to you. Love to you all. Woof, 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 woof. Look at that doggy. Look at that doggy in the mirror there, you guys. Nice. Nice. Is he talking there? Is he talking? Let me see if I put this on. Let me hear what your dog's saying to you, Betsy. I got
This
my.
is Frida. This is
Oh,
Frida.
free. Oh, she's free. Duh.
She's free.
Hey,
She
duh.
lives next door.
Oh, she's next door. She comes over because you got all the love vibes.
Yeah, when you said let's put on our God glasses, I heard her crying at the gate.
Oh, God bless Frida. What a great name. What a great name that is. Sweet. All right.
Yeah,
Best
thank you.
much love to you. We'll see you again soon. Bring that big guy with you.
Okie dokie.
Okie dokie. Much love. Say hello to the soul of yoga too.
Absolutely.
Good. Great. Have a good one. Love you. Aho.